my love for the ocean, I would be long gone by now. It's some kind of devotion that brings me down. That without my love for the ocean, I will be no one, no
Hello everyone. As you all know, we are still in Fort Lauderdale awaiting for the date of our survey on the Vision 444 that we put an offer in. And while we're here, we've just been kind of not doing a lot, going on a lot of walks, sitting in a lot of traffic. We've been doing a lot of shopping, getting ready for our new boat. And I thought instead of dragging you all through that boring city life week after week, that I would put together a little series called Meet the Crew. So we're gonna start with me, who's the organizer of all of our social media and YouTube videos. It's challenging writing a story about yourself and trying to do it in a short amount of time. So I wrote it all down. I hope you don't mind that I am going to read it instead of trying to remember it off the cuff. So here we go. So, where do you even start when telling your life story? It's a strange thing trying to look back and boil it all down to just a few minutes, especially when your life has taken a lot of twists and turns. I'm going to do my best to share where I came from and how I ended up here, without diving too deep into other stories, because this is my version of things, and this is how I remember it. I was born in April of 1979 in Seattle, Washington, to two young 20-something-year-olds trying to figure out their place in the world. I was their firstborn and apparently overdue, which led to me looking a bit dehydrated and overcooked at birth. My mom likes to say I came out looking like a little adult, and honestly, that kind of stuck. We were a solidly middle-class, maybe upper-middle-class family. My dad worked in construction and my mom stayed home to raise me and later my younger brother and sister, born 2 and 4 years after me. As the eldest, I naturally became the responsible one, the one who had to have everything in order. I was the kid who had to have their shoelaces tied just right, bows perfectly straight. Neat freak doesn't even begin to cover it. We moved around a bit in the Seattle area, so I never got too attached to any one neighborhood. I went to a private Episcopal school until 3rd grade, loved Barbie, riding bikes with friends, and dancing around to Madonna and Debbie Gibson. For vacations, we headed up to the San Juan Islands. There was a tiny round cabin heated by a wood stove, a separate bunkhouse where we all slept, and a rowboat we'd take out during low tide to explore nearby islands. It felt magical. My dad was a sailor, always has been, and I have beautiful memories of sailing with him and our family from Lake Washington up to Pearl Island near Roach Harbor. I think that early connection with water planted a seed in me, even if I didn't realize it at the time. When I was about 9 or 10, my sister suffered a serious head injury. She was in a coma, but miraculously she pulled through. Still, it rocked our family to the core. In the aftermath, my parents decided we needed a fresh start, so we left everything behind and moved to Sun Valley, Idaho. I was devastated. Moving from Seattle to what felt like the middle of nowhere was not on my wish list. But kids are adaptable. I settled into a new school, made friends, and joined the local ski team. Even though I was nowhere near the level of kids who'd grown up with a ski mountain in their backyard. But I worked hard and eventually I caught up. It gave me a sense of freedom I really loved. The real turning point came when my mom fulfilled her lifelong dream and bought a horse named Cozy. I fell in love instantly. Pretty soon, my parents had to buy me my own horse just so my mom could ride hers. From then on, I had a new dream: to become an Olympic rider. I trained relentlessly, joined the local pony club, and absorbed everything I could about horsemanship. My talent and dedication eventually took me to the Southern California show circuit. I even started doing school remotely in the spring so I could travel to compete. But then came another life-altering moment. My parents divorced during my sophomore year. Everything changed. Home life became chaotic, filled with arguments, therapy sessions, and court dates. The possibility of riding disappeared overnight. I rebelled hard. I partied, stayed out late, drove too fast, and basically self-destructed through the rest of high school. I left home the day after I graduated and moved to California, hoping to rebuild my riding career. I went to community college, then transferred to a university, all while working at a show barn exercising horses. For nearly 8 years, I kept pushing for my dream, hoping for a sponsor or a breakthrough. But eventually reality hit. The horses I was given were never the ones that could take me to the top. That's when I pivoted. I started working with a sports medicine vet and enrolled in school to become a veterinarian. But a year in, I realized I couldn't be around horses and not ride. It was too painful. So I gave it all up, moved back to Sun Valley, and embraced mountain lifestyle. I waited table and chased powder. It was simple. It was fun. It was exactly what I needed. Then something unexpected happened. I got offered a job with a local entrepreneur. I had zero experience outside the horse world, but he saw something in me. Maybe it was my work ethic, my obsession with detail, or the way I threw myself fully into everything I did. Whatever it was, he took a chance on me, and I ran with it. Over the next few years, I worked in cell tower, site acquisition, oil and gas, real estate development, you name it. At night, I worked the bar at a high-end restaurant to make ends meet. And then one day, Conor walked into the office. I remembered him from high school. He was a year ahead of me, but we never really hung out. He had just taken a job in the same office, and soon we were spending all our free time together. We both loved the water and dreamed of owning a ski boat, so we bought a used flight craft and spent every spare moment on the lake. Eventually, I was planning to build a home in a development I helped create. Conor quit his job to manage the build, and we figured if we could survive a house build, we could survive anything. So we got married at a remote lodge in the mountains and started our next chapter. In 2011, our son Finn was born. He changed my life in ways I didn't know possible. 2 years later, we welcomed our daughter Madeline, and suddenly our little world felt full and complete. We were committed to living life to the fullest, skiing, boating, camping, first in a tent, then in a truck camper, always outside, always together. Somewhere in there, I made another pivot. I left my job and became a real estate agent, thinking I'd have more flexibility. Spoiler alert, I did not. Real estate is full throttle all the time, but I thrived. I joined forces with a local agent, and together we landed in the top 5 in both sales volume and transactions year after year. Then COVID hit. Real estate went into overdrive. People were fleeing cities and flocking to small mountain towns like ours. I worked long hours and barely came up for air. I was providing the life I'd always dreamed of for my kids. Private schools, sports, vacations, but I wasn't present. I found an art project Finn made that said, "I love my mom because she works," and it just about broke me. We took a trip to the USVI at the tail end of the pandemic and chartered a catamaran. That trip changed everything. Conor and I came home with an idea. What if we did this? What if we lived on a boat, chased adventure, and built a life full of presence and purpose? We didn't know how to sail. We didn't know anything about cruising. but we knew how to work hard, solve problems, and commit. So that's exactly what we did, and the rest is history. If someone were to describe me, they'd probably say I'm incredibly hardworking, meticulous, detail-oriented, loyal, and a bit of a perfectionist. I'm naturally talented, successful at what I set my mind to, and fiercely dedicated to my family. I'm introverted in that I value a tight circle of meaningful relationships over large crowds. I don't just do things, I dive in fully and completely. Whether it's riding horses, selling houses, or sailing the seas, I go all in. Thanks so much for coming along on this adventure with us. We're so grateful to have you following our journey as we sail, explore, and live life on the water. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and drop us a comment. We love hearing from you. If you'd like to support our journey even further, we do have a Patreon page where our amazing community helps keep Big Lost afloat. Huge thank you to our current Patreons. You guys are absolute legends, and we couldn't do this without you. Until next time, stay adventurous, stay salty, and we'll see you in the next one where we introduce Captain Conor.